Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. It's time for Cub Chat Live. My name's Aaron, and I'm joined by one of my favorite guests. That's right. It's Cub Chat Mike. How are you doing, sir?
Aaron, hello. This is Cup Chat Mike, and I am excited to talk about today's topic. Really great pack meetings. What are some really great pack meetings? And that's our subject today.
Yeah, it's that time of the year where a lot of packs. School has started. Packs. If you haven't already had your first meeting of the year, it's probably right around the corner, and we're going to talk about different ideas. Mike and I are both old club masters. One of us is older than the other, but I'm not going to say which one. You're going to have to figure it out. But as we discuss different ideas and different options that you have, we would love for you to share some of your ideas in the comments. Mike, as always, has a very lot of list of things he needs to talk about. So, Mike, why don't we do? Well, actually, before we do, Mike, let me just say real quick. Rob says hi to Cub Chop Mike and Aaron. The second Rob, what I call the superior Rob, says hi. Jeremy says hi. He's coming from Northport, Florida. Luke's coming from Chattanooga. We've already got a lot of comments. And Rusty, our good friend Rusty, is representing both two different Cub Scout packs. As we said, our topic today, pack meetings, not really do's and don'ts, mostly just do's, different things you can do to have fun and enjoyable pack meetings. Mike, your thoughts?
Okay, well, Aaron, as you say, the subject is really great pack meetings. And just to echo what you said, any listeners that have favorite pack meetings, please let us know. Aaron and I
Yes.
have our favorites, but we'd love to hear from you all and what your favorites are. Now, Aaron, as you also know, I like to begin my Cub Scout sessions with a riddle. And I'm going to ask the first half of it at the beginning of our show, and I'm going to give the answer at the end of the show. And so here is the first half of the riddle. And this is a tough one, but if you think you know, let Aaron know in the comments. Why should a Cub Scout never brush his or her teeth with their left hand? That's the question. Why should a Cub Scout never brush his or her teeth with their left hand? And we'll get to the answer at the end. But now, going on into the subject, great pack meetings, the first thing I want to pass along is that great pack meetings usually don't just happen. Usually they're well thought through in advance. And my pack likes to start their pack meetings right at 6:30. It's a school night. End at 7:30, 45 minutes, an hour, no longer. And I'd like you to show Aaron the pack meeting planning sheet, which I sent in. And the audience can see that this planning sheet, and I think I borrowed it from the Great Sam Houston Council in Texas. It has the different categories before the meeting, the opening, the program, and by using this form or a similar form, you can always be sure that you've got your pack meeting planned. And as I say, the great pack meetings don't just happen. So consider using this plan. Okay. The test for me as to what is a great pack meeting is pretty simple. The test is always this. Did the scouts have a good time? If the scouts had fun and they tell their parents, I want to come back next week, and if the parents had a good time and realized that the scouts had fun, that is the test of a great pack meeting in my judgment. And I have had pack meetings that sort of got away from me. Sometimes they turned into complete pandemonium. And at the end of the meeting, I said to myself, wow, that was pretty crazy. But the kids had a good time. And so that's all that really counted. The kids had a good time. And remember, it's not what adult leaders think is fun. We're talking about kindergartners, first graders, wolves, bears, weeblos. Did the kids have fun, and did whatever you do appeal to the kids? Now, the next point I want to make is that you want as much audience participation as possible. You want cheers, applause, songs, skits, create excitement, especially before the meeting. The scouts are coming in with their parents. The leaders are setting up for the meeting, and you don't want the kids just running around like wild Indians. You want them to be involved right from the beginning. So we usually have a volunteer who is going to be, as the meeting gets ready, to have a skit or songs. When you're up, you're up. When you're down, you're down. When you're only halfway up, that type of thing. When the whole audience is involved, it's really great. And applause and cheers are a great way to recognize scouts and their accomplishments. For example, let's give the Wolf Den a round of applause. You've all seen the round of applause. Aaron, what do you think?
Yeah, and you said something that kind of, as always, Mike, something that struck home to me. You said you've had PAC meetings get away from you. Been there, done that. I think any veteran Cub Scout leader has had that. You try to be fun. You try to have a lot of energy. These are little kids, right? Sometimes they have a lot of energy, right? So, but I agree. You always try to tell yourself, that kind of got a little out of hand. But as long as the kids had fun, that's the main thing. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, you walk out of the parking lot and you see the kids are excited and they're enjoying it with their family. And you had a great PAC meeting.
Yes, to them,
you thought it was going to be.
Yes, to them, everything was great. Yes. I want to give a quick shout out to Siv Natalie, who's watching from Norway, and Omid, who's watching from Iran. We always have some nice international viewers. Ryan is watching from Chelsea, Michigan. Rob says he wants to be a scout leader. Rob, if you want to be a scouts leader, you should contact your local council. I think that's usually the best way. Go to, if you Google BSA local council locator, put in your zip code, find your local council, reach out. They can tell you what to do. All that stuff is handled on the local level. Other Rob says they always started their school year with an event like the Rain Gutter Regatta. The kids went off to a race while I got to talk when I got to talk to new parents. I know you're about to mention, Mike, the difference between a passive and an active meeting. Rain Gutter Regatta, that certainly qualifies as an active meeting, I believe. Good idea. Pretty sure that's something you have to do outside as well. We've got one guess for your joke, Mike. And so Mike and I talked about this riddle early before the show. And Siv Natalie has the same guess that I had. It has something to do with your left-hand handshake. That is not the correct answer. I like the way you're thinking, but remember, I want to make sure I word the question the right way, Mike. Why should a scout not brush his or her teeth with their left hand? I thought the same thing. It makes sense, right?
Okay, well, Aaron, we're going to have the answer to the end, and yes, everyone is going to give a complete groan, of course, when they hear the answer, but that's okay. Well, listen, I normally think of two different types of PAC meetings. First is the active PAC meeting where the scouts are doing something, and then you have passive meetings where the scouts are listening to something or listening to a presentation. Now, both of those types of PAC meetings can be great PAC meetings, but remember, you don't want it to look too much like school. This is the Cubs are to have fun here. You don't want it to look like school. So what are some of the fun active meetings? And I'd like to put on the screen now a PAC meeting that our PAC had last Monday. So this is 5 days old. This is called the boxcar race. And if you can look, each one of those box cars has been decorated, and then a parent, mom or dad, or a volunteer from the PAC puts the scout in the box, and you can see the little rollers there on the bottom. And as you can go to the next slide, you can see that the scouts race around the room with the parents and the other scouts in the boxes, and we purposely don't try to declare winners. We just want the kids to get around and make it in one piece. And every once in a while, a scout will fall out of the box, or the parent will fall out of the box. And that's okay. It's just to have fun. But every kid, as you can see in this particular picture, is asked, now, what's your name? And tell us about your box. And the rule is everyone is supposed to have a helmet before this activity. But it is one of the very, very favorite activities of our PAC every year. The kids really get into it. It's not what I would think of as a special pack meeting, but the kids love it. And as long as they're having fun, that's great. Look, they're all waiting for the ready, set, go. The parents are standing up watching. The kids are ready. They're all cheering. And it is, as I say, just pandemonium.
That looks like a great meeting. We got a lot of people commenting. Guys, we want to hear about your most successful pack meetings. And hey, if you want to share some of the not so successful ones, hey, we've all been there as well. I can't remember if I gave a shout out to Wendy, but if not, a quick shout out to Wendy. And Wendy did something that I always like to see, Mike. Wendy tagged one of her friends. Must be a friend of hers who could probably benefit from this show. Please tag your friends, guys. We love to see that. A quick, another point real quick. Where was this comment real quick? Luke said they just had their first pack meeting of the season, and they started with a repeat after me song, the Penguin song. It seemed like the Scouts had a good time with that. Are you familiar with that one, Mike?
I am familiar, and that is a great one because the repeat after me gets the parents involved. It gets the Scouts involved. Any audience participation is great. Now, Aaron, what I did is I asked the National Cub Scout Committee, members of the National Cub Scout Committee, to give me some of their favorites. And I got this wonderful idea from Lindsay Pattison on the committee. And she said that what they did last spring was an egg drop. Now, what that means is they had every parent bring insulation material, packing material, and they had the older scouts work with the younger scouts, and they packed these eggs in all kinds of different packing material. Then they went up a ladder and dropped this package to see which eggs would break and which one didn't. And she says, when I dropped each egg off the top of the ladder, their faces and excitement said it all. So that's from Lindsay.
That's awesome.
Zachary McCarty is also on the National Cub Scout Committee, and he throws out some things that worked in his pack. A pack fitness fair, where the Webelos Den had a series of exercises and activities, and all the dens participated in some example of physical fitness. He has a pack carnival. The Bear Den put on booze and activities for the other dens. He talked about pumpkin carving in October. Well, yes, we do that sort of in our pack, but we know Cub Scouts love knives, but we also know that they're often not really ready to use them. So our pumpkin carving is really taking the pumpkin with magic markers and drawing fun things. The parents may want to carve them when they get home, but not with the Cub Scout insurance. We're not going to do that. Also, graham cracker houses creating in December. Those are always great. And so there are a couple examples of fun pack meetings. Aaron, what are some of the fun pack meetings that you can recall?
Yeah. I like what you said. I never really thought about it this way, Mike, but the difference between an active and a passive meeting. And I was always had a very easy time finding guests to come to our meeting and do presentations that are of interest to young children. There are a lot of members of your community who maybe that's literally their job to do, or if it's not their job, it's something that they're passionate about. And one of my favorites was we had a gentleman come in from our local model rocket building society.
Wow.
It's an actual model rocket club. And the model rocket club here in my area, its purpose is to promote model rocketry to kids. So when I asked them, hey, could you come do a presentation for our Cub Scout pack? I mean, they're like, what time do you want me to be there? How long can I take? It was great. And they brought, those folks, you've probably seen them, Mike, rockets taller than I am, some of them.
Yes.
And they talk all about the process of building model rockets, all the little bits of pieces that go inside of them, how the little small explosion actually launches them, how the launch pad works, how the remote controlled launch pad works. It was fascinating, and they were nice enough to pass out some rockets that the kids could keep, but then some other ones that were only for them to look at. These really, really nice rockets. It kind of made me nervous with them passing them around, but our kids did great. And that was, I think you would describe that as a passive meeting, right?
Yeah, Aaron.
Boy, they were fascinated by it.
Yeah, and so either a passive or an active meeting can be a great pack meeting. One of our favorite pack meetings is with Liberty Wildlife. And what Liberty Wildlife does is they accept birds from the community that are injured, and they try to send those, repair those birds, bring them back to health, and then send them out into the back into the wild. But sometimes there are birds that cannot be released into the wild because they can't defend themselves, they can't feed themselves. And so here is a picture of Liberty Wildlife bringing an owl, and all these birds have names, and the kids know them, of course. And they talk about how the bird was injured and how they try to fix them and repair them. And then at the end of the meeting, every scout gets their picture taken with whatever bird they want to. So here's an owl, and I think you have some other pictures there. Well, there's yours truly with Sonora the eagle, and the eagle is always a big hit. And there he is. I couldn't help myself. And there is one of the Liberty Wildlife instructors explaining the eagle, showing the eagle. This eagle's name is Sonora, a Southwest name here. And that is a hit. That meeting is the hit. And our next meeting, we're going to bring in the injured birds from Liberty Wildlife. Now, Jenny Eisenhower on the Cub Scout committee says that she did something really simple, but it was a great meeting and the kids loved it. They had the Cub Master come in and wear a foam corn hat. The corn head, it's a piece of foam. And all the Cub Master did was tell jokes as part of the meeting. And he said it was really great. So for example, Aaron, what do you call a beehive with no exit? What do you call a beehive with no exit? Well, the answer is unbelievable. Okay, silly stuff like that. Another fun a passive type meeting is to have the police department come in with a canine dog, and we found success there. And we had the fire department come and bring a fire truck, a real fire truck, an honest to goodness one, and then the firemen came in all their outfits and with all their equipment. And as we got into the presentation, they got an emergency call and all raced out in the fire truck and off they went. So beware.
Well, it happens, right?
Yeah, of who you might bring may have other issues that they're going to have to address. I think I have a fire truck picture there, don't I? Yeah. Now, we've also had an antique fire truck to give the Cubs a ride. And I think anytime you can get vehicles involved, folks are going to have a great time.
Yep, and we've got a lot of folks, a lot of people in the comments weighing in with their ideas. I'll try to get to a few of them here real quick. Madison says their pack, it looks like kind of goes with the holiday schedule, Mike. In December, they have a holiday party with a visit from Santa. They start the year with a rain gutter regatta. They also have a Pinewood Derby race theme meeting where they give people a last minute chance to work on their cars. That's very, very cool. Carrie has an interesting idea. They do for their first pack meeting, campfire safety. I'm guessing, Carrie, they go outdoors. And I wanted to ask you about that, Mike. The pros and cons of having a meeting outdoors or indoors. As Carrie says, they go outdoors. And I love the fact that they go ahead and take care of that opportunity, take advantage of it to make some s'mores. Any excuse to make s'mores is a good excuse to me. But Mike, are you able to do your pack meetings outdoors this early in the year, or are you usually stay inside?
Yes. In Arizona, you can pretty much do your pack meeting anytime. You may be hot or a little bit cold, but you can do it anytime. And we encourage that. We have a campfire at the end of the year. But what I like about being inside or outside is you have variety. You don't want, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit later. I'll just talk about it now.
Okay.
What you don't want is your pack meetings to be repetitious and get stale. Remember, a lion in kindergarten could be an arrow of light in 5th grade. That's 6 years. If you do the same program year after year after year, the kids are going to say, hey, listen, I've been there, done that. And so what we like to do is take a blue and gold, for example. One year it's very, very elaborate. The next year it's not so elaborate. But the point is you try to create your PAC meetings so that they don't get stale and the kids don't get tired of them.
Yep. Behind the scenes, Brian posted a link to the PDF that Mike showed you guys earlier in the meeting with the planning ideas, PAC meeting planning sheet. Yes. And so people are asking for a link to that sheet. Behind the scenes, Brian has posted it in the comments. That came from one of our councils, I think you said, right, Mike?
I think it's the Greater Sam Houston Council, I think. There
might be different versions of that out there. This is not like the one and only version. This is one that Mike likes, and I like it too. So check that out if you are interested. I want to do a real quick thing. Jeremy says in October they usually do a trunk or treat night, so like a little mini trick-or-treating. October seems like a prime time for something like that. I feel like you can't go wrong with animals. Rob says they have a bird rescue organization that will come out to PAC meetings, and that's one of those things, like you say, Mike. One of the reasons they exist is to spread awareness, right? They want to come out into the community, come to these events, and it's a win-win-win. The kids love it. You can sit down and kind of enjoy it too. I saw that picture of you with the eagle. I don't think I've ever seen you that happy before. So I know that, it's fun for everybody. A lot of good ideas, and a quick shout out again to Todd from Scouts BSA troop in Farmingdale, New York. Appreciate that. Marisol has tagged a friend. Thank you, Marisol. Appreciate that. And then one more quick comment, if I could, Mike. Kim says they start out their first meeting with some guide to safe scouting lessons, like what used to be the cyber chip, and then some games to learn the Bobcat requirement for new scouts and for the returning scouts to view. So it sounds almost like a Cub Scouting 101 type meeting. Very, very cool. Lots of different ideas. I do think you can't go wrong with animals. I think you can't go wrong with a really, really cool display. Like I said, model rockets. We also had representatives from our local police force show up. And again, there's usually a police officer whose job is to go out into the community and do these things. So they don't mind doing that. Those are all great resources that are out there.
Well, and remember what I said. It's what's fun to a kindergartner or a second grader or a third grader. It's not necessarily what's fun to the adult. So we have the injured birds there, and I noticed when they came in, they put a big blanket type thing on the ground, and then they stood on that and gave their presentation about the birds. And when the birds pooped on the
of course,
the kids went crazy. They loved it. The parents said, I don't understand this, but again, it's one of those things what the kids love, and they went crazy and loved it and hooped and hollered. Oh my goodness.
I one time had a representative from our local recycling division, waste management, I think they're called, and she came and did a presentation about different items, what gets recycled and what doesn't get recycled. And she organized a little game for them to play. And as she was starting, I'm going, oh boy, I don't know if this is going to go well, but it's a game where she had all of these fake trash items. They were fake, and the kids had to decide, do you recycle that or do you throw that in the trash? The kids loved it. They went crazy for it. I never would have realized that. Obviously, she knew what she was doing.
Yes. Again, it's what appeals to a kindergartner or a first or second grader. It's not what necessarily appeals to us. Well, but that does bring up the thought that you can have PAC meetings and different themes, and you can run the theme for either a period of time into den meetings or whatever. Heroes in history, that's a theme. Scouts in shining armor, space Cub Scout themes, and then the one that you just mentioned, litter to glitter, and how you can focus on recycling. I do want to mention one of our PAC's very favorite PAC meetings. It's a fundraiser PAC meeting, but it turns out it's one of the highlights. It's our cake auction. Every family on their own sits down with their scout and they bake a cake, and then the scout has to decorate it. It's a scout decorated cake. Those cakes are brought in, and then each one is presented, and the different members of the PAC bid on those cakes. Well, what happens is, first of all, you get some spirited bidding sometime. I try to always bring my cake home, buy the one that my grandson decorated. And some of my friends have jacked up my bidding pretty high. But the point is, it's a fundraiser for the PAC. It's fun for the kids, and it really funds all of our activities almost for the entire year. We don't need to do any other particular event to raise money. The cake auction brings those in.
That's awesome. That's awesome. New York City Cub Scout Pack 422. They were established in 1981, by the way. Very cool. They play bingo with a Halloween theme for their first event of the year. And they claim that bird poop is good luck, Mike. So I'm going to take their word for it. Luke says they do the yo-yo adventure for their pack meeting. That's a great idea. That's a really good pack meeting theme there. A quick question for you, Mike. One thing we haven't really talked about, I think Rob maybe mentioned it earlier. Do you, in your pack meetings, try to have time to talk to the adults about business stuff or the next camp out? Or do you take that? Is that a totally separate thing for you?
Well, it's a combination, Aaron. The first pack meeting, of course, is you've got to spend time with the parents and make sure they know what den their child is in and where to get the uniform and have you registered online. And so I think one of the packs that's listening had the rain gutter regatta in a different spot, so that you could separate. Our pack does that for the first meeting. We separate the kids and the parents, again, making sure the kids have a lot of fun, but we give the parents the information. Otherwise, a lot of our information is emailed out, but when the Cub Master gives his little talk, he has slides, and this date we're going camping, and this date we're doing this. So it's a quick hit, but we don't normally take the parents aside after that first meeting. Although as a den leader, I take the parents aside, but the pack meeting, no, it's really just the emails and the one discussion there from the pack master.
Awesome. We've got just a couple of more minutes with Mike. A lot of great ideas in the comments. Mike, I'm dying to know, why should a scout not brush his or her teeth with their left hand? Before you answer that, though, any other thing you'd like to say about pack meetings? Any more advice from our viewers?
Aaron, I would like to summarize. We're talking about careful planning for a meeting. A good pack meeting doesn't just happen. Number 2, audience participation. You want cheers, songs, skits, as much in the audience as possible. Number 3, realize that there are active and passive types of meetings. The little kids need to wiggle, so you want to be careful in those passive meetings, and it can't be like school. You don't want this event to be like school. Consider pack meetings with themes, and basically just let us know of all those pack meetings that you've had that really were great. And now, you ready for the answer?
Yes, we'd love to hear about it. Mike, why should a Cub Scout not brush his or her teeth with their left hand?
Okay, why should a Cub Scout never brush his or her teeth with their left hand? Because a toothbrush works better. A toothbrush works better than brushing his or her teeth with their left hand.
So Rob in the comments actually got it right. Yes, good job, Rob. Congratulations. Fine, you got it right. A great show, Mike. Lots of good information. There's quite a few more comments I wasn't able to get to. I encourage everybody to go through and read those. And hey, you know what? Just because we stop yapping here doesn't mean you can't continue to comment there. We do monitor that. And this video will stay on whatever Facebook page you're watching on it right now. Feel free to keep commenting. Mike, good to see you again, and a great job as always.
Aaron, this was great fun. See you soon.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and have a good weekend, everybody. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in today. Be sure to catch next week's episode. Same time, same place. And let us know how we're doing at go.scoutingmagazine.org/ratecubchat. We love feedback and ideas for new episodes. And you can visit blog.scoutingmagazine.org/cubchatlive for all our past video episodes. You can see us live. Except it's recorded, but it was live. Okay, see you next week.